रखवाले करने वाली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली हो जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली हो जगदम्बे मैया, जग के रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया। तेरी दया से जीते हैं मैया, तेरे भरोसे चलती है नैया, तेरी दया से जीते हैं मैया, तेरे भरोसे चलती है नैया, घर घर है सुख की दिवाली जगदम्बे मैया, घर घर है सुख की दिवाली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली हो जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली हो जगदम्बे मैया, जग के रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया। दुखियों के घर में सुख बेता दे, अंधियारे घर में दिया जला दे, दुखियों के घर में सुख बेता दे, अंधियारे घर में दिया जला दे, सबके मिटा दे राते काले जगदम्बे मैया, सबके मिटा दे राते काली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली हो जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली हो जगदम्बे मैया, जग के रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया, जग के रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया, जगदम्बे मैया, जगदम्बे मैया। आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा भवानी माँ दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा भवानी माँ दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी। धूप जलाऊंगी, दीप सजाऊंगी, धूप जलाऊंगी, दीप सजाऊंगी, आओ सतरंगी चुनरी उड़ाऊंगी, आओ सतरंगी चुनरी
Bolo Shri Durga Mata ki Jai. Let us now join together, everyone, in prarthana and prayers before we delve into our chanting and satsang. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvara Gajananam Bhutganadisevitam Kapitta Jambu Phalcharu Vakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Vighneshwar Pada Pankajam. Bolo Shri Ganapati Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Atulit Baladamam Hemashela Badeham Dhanujavan Krishanam Jnaninam Ragaganyam Sakala Guna Nidhanam Vanaranam Disham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Namami. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Bolo Pavana Putra Hanuman ki Jai. Pararvinde Napadarvindam Mukarvinde Viniveshayantram Vatasya Patrasya Puteshayanam Bala Mukunda Manasa Smarami. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva.
Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva.
Lokabhiramam Ranarangadiram Rajivanetram Raghuvanshanatham Karunyarupam Karunakarantam Shri Ramachandram Manasa Smarami. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. 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 Bolo Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Siyapati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Vande Devam Umapatim Suragurum Vande Jagat Karanam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigadharam Vande Pashunapatim Vande Surya Shashanka Vahinayanam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhakta Janasrayam Cha Varadam वन्दे शिवं शङ्करं बुलिमापति महादेव की जय। ॐ या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषजाध्यापः। ॐ लक्ष्मी करोतु कल्याणम् आरोग्यं सुखसम्पदा मम शत्रुविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते। दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दन दीपो मे हरतु पापो दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ नमो दिव्ये महादिव्ये शिवाय सततं नमः। नमः प्रकृत्यभद्राय नियतां प्रणतास्मतां रौद्राय नमो नित्याय गौर्ये धात्रे नमो नमः। ज्योत्स्नाय चिन्दरूपिण्ये सुखाय सततं नमः। कल्याणे प्रणतां वृद्धे सिद्धे कुर्मो नमो नमः। नैऋत्ये भूभृतां लक्ष्मे सर्वाण्ये ते नमो नमः। दुर्गाय दुर्गपाराय साराय सर्वकारिण्ये ख्याते तथैव कृष्णाय धूम्राय सततं नमः। अतिसौम्यातिरुद्राय नतास्तस्ये नमो 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 नमः। नमो जगत्प्रतिष्ठाय दिव्ये कृत्ये नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विष्णुमायेति शब्दता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु चैतन्येत्यभिधीयते नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु निद्रारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शुद्धारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु छायारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कृष्णारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै नमस्तस्यै
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु जातिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लज्जारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु श्रद्धारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु वृत्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु स्मृतिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दयारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु तुष्टिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु भ्रान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
इन्द्रियाणामधिष्ठात्री भूतानां चाखिलेषु या भूतेषु सततं तस्यै व्याप्तिदेव्यै नमो नमः चित्तिरूपेण या कृत्स्नमेतद्व्याप्य स्थितः जगत् नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो
ॐ
नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो
ॐ
नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो 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 नमः बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय जय सीताराम everyone jai sitaram everyone usually when there's no one here I don't make a fuss about if anyone says sitaram to me but there's a few people here so it's always good to hear the voices make sure that you're attentive make sure that you're going to listen now not because I have something important to say but because the words of Bhagwan are in the verses of the Gita that we're going to read. And at least what we can do is to pay attention to them to sing along with them, and to chant the name of Bhagwan. If there's anything that you've done here today, even if you do not listen to the katha and do what I just said, at least what you've done is you have said the words of and the name of Bhagwan, Sitaram. And I will say, Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. Durga, her day, Mata Durga, her day is Fridays. And so we say Jai Mata Di on her day. This is her day, and so we acknowledge her presence and her Shakti on this day by expounding on her glories. Today, we have a very special day. It is our sister's birthday, soon to be birthday. She told me earlier. Soon to be birthday that's coming up on Sunday. And she has sat down for puja with us today in thanks to Bhagwan. And it's a very fitting thing to do when we give thanks to Bhagwan in this way. When we give thanks to God, what we are truly doing is we're building upon our gratitude. What we're truly doing by doing puja on days that are special to us is we are building upon our gratitude. We always hear from our elders, be grateful for what you have. Those who have grown up in Guyana, those who have grown up in a not rich household, middle class or less, you hear this constantly. You hear these words from your parents. Be grateful for what you have. Don't waste food. Don't throw things out. If you get a gift, be thankful for it. This gratitude is a very special gift that we can have in our lives if we think about it. The gratitude that we have can actually bring us closer to Bhagavan. And today we'll talk a little bit more about how that is possible, how that can be possible as well. Now I say be grateful for everything, not just one thing. Be grateful for everything that you have, every single thing. They say also that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So many people put value on things differently. I might look at this phone and I say it's a beautiful phone because it's Apple. But many of you might look at this phone and say, I don't like Apple, I like Android. This is not a good phone. What are you talking about? And we're disagreeing upon this. Though both things that we're looking at, the Samsung and Apple, are the same in its beauty. But we put different value upon it because our own perception of it, our own eye dictates how much value that has or how much beauty that thing has. When we're thinking about gratitude, when we're thinking about what we can be grateful for, we do not say, be grateful for some of the things that you have, right? We do not say, be grateful for the things that you find beautiful in your life. No. Because everyone can put a perception, their own perception on these objects around them. They can put their own feelings towards any of these objects and say, I'm not grateful for that. I'm not grateful for this iPhone. I'm only grateful for the Samsung that I have. I'm not grateful for this life because this life that I live outside of home is better. And so on. But instead, we don't say that. What we say is be grateful for everything that we have. Because everything that we have makes us a better person. Whether that thing that we have is good to our lives or not so good to our lives. Whether we have a negative perception of it or not. Whether we like it or not. That is the point of gratitude. The point of gratitude is to ensure that when we're looking at something, we're looking at it with the right recognition that it deserves. That when we're looking at something, we're understanding that that adds value, a good positive value to our lives, that we can learn from, that we can take forward. And we can be grateful for those things that we have in our life. Now, you can say, there's a difference between being grateful. There's a difference between being grateful and settling. Settling for something that we have. Or rather, we can be content with what we have, or we can be complacent. This is something we hear all the time. We can be content with what we have in life, happy about it, no matter what it is. Or we can be complacent. We like it and we'll move on. Of course, what is the best thing that we should do? What is the best pathway that we should follow? Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he lays it out in the Bhagavad Gita for us. Om Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari
He Nath Narayan Vasudeva
Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda
Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva
Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Uppatrat Samashnani Prayatmana Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari
He Nath Narayan Vasudeva
He Nath Narayan Vasudeva He Nath Narayan Vasudeva He Nath Narayan Vasudeva He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath
Narayan Vasudeva
Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan
Vasudeva
He Nath Narayan Vasudeva He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhaktyupritam Shnami Prayatatmanah. He says, whoever with loving devotion offers to me a leaf, patram, pushpam, a flower, phalam, a fruit, toyam, or water, I affectionately accept that devotional offering from that pure-hearted being. This is a very popular verse. We all have heard of it before. But in this case, when we look at it through the lens of the Katha this evening, we see that Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he's being very, very grateful. He tells Arjuna that no matter what you offer, no matter what it is that you're offering, patram pushpam phalam toyam, if it's a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or just water, I accept that wholeheartedly. And we see that Bhagavan Shri Krishna here, he's leading by example. That whatever he is given, he is expressing that gratitude for. Whatever is given to him, he is thankful for. Because he says that it's being offered from a pure-hearted being. And that is all of us. None of us would offer anything wrong to Bhagavan, of course. And so when we offer anything, he is very gracious in receiving it, and he has a lot of gratitude in receiving it. There are many things that we offer to Bhagavan that are far more complex than what he outlines here. Many things that are very more expensive than what he outlines here. He doesn't even say milk, but we know that we bathe all of our murtis with water, milk, haldi water. All of the fanciest things that we can offer to Bhagwan, we sponsor that. And we go out of our way to create this, Panajis. They go out of their way to create these so that we can offer it to Bhagwan. We do all of this extra effort because, one, we're very privileged that we can do it. And two, because we want to express our love and devotion in that way. But yet, Bhagwan, he says, he only needs those 4 things. Or rather, if we were to offer only these simple things, that he would still accept it with the same amount of love as anything else that we were to offer to him. So no matter what we have to offer to Bhagwan, he accepts it. Many times people will tell you, for Bhagwan Shivji, you're supposed to offer this. You're supposed to offer a madar flower for Bhagwan Shivji. Your puja is not complete without doing that. For Bhagwan Shri Krishna, you're supposed to offer a tulsi leaf. Our elders will say this a lot. You have to offer a tulsi leaf. If you do not, your puja is incomplete. All of these things beautify our puja. They're very true. If you can offer it, offer it. But Bhagwan himself tells us that whatever we have to offer, he will accept it as long as our hearts are pure. And if we're going to offer anything to Bhagwan, I think that is true. That our heart must be pure, that our heart will be pure in that time. And so, Bhagwan Shri Krishna himself, he leads in the way to teach us how to be grateful in life. To get to that way, to get to that path, what is it that we can do? How can we offer in this way? He tells us to reset our mind, to stop the way that we're thinking now, because Arjuna is thinking very complex. He's asking very difficult questions, posing these prashna, these questions to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. He's posing all of these questions. But Bhagwan Shri Krishna responds in a very simple manner. This is why this verse is so popular. He responds very simply to Arjuna, answering his question very simply. And so he tells us to reset our mind, reset the way that we're thinking. Stop that way that we're thinking and move to this new way that I'm telling you. And the way that we can achieve that, of course, is by engaging in dhyanam, engaging in some sort of meditation to reset our minds, to focus on Bhagwan, and to understand this, to allow that gratefulness to enter us. Bhagwan Shri Krishna, not only does he say it in the Bhagavad Gita, but there's a beautiful story between him and his friend Sudama. Sudama ji, he wanted to visit Bhagwan Shri Krishna, but he was very, very poor. I know all of you know the story, but I'm going to repeat it anyways. He was very poor. He had nothing to take to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And yet he took some stale food that was in the pot. Whatever he had left over. In fact, it says that he scraped the bottom of the pot. He picked up what was left. He wrapped it into his shawl. He didn't put it in a plate. He didn't put it in a carry-out bowl. He wrapped it into his shawl and he traveled on foot for many, many miles to walk to the palace of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And Bhagwan Shri Krishna, of course, he opened the gates. He welcomed him with open arms. He put him down to sit on the throne. He massaged his feet. And he was grateful even for Sudamaji to visit him. And when he had to offer the food now to Bhagwan Shri Krishna, he did so, and Bhagwan Shri Krishna took the food and ate it happily, despite what it was, despite all the luxuries that he has, despite all of the palace cooks and chefs that he had. He ate it, and he ate it with gratefulness. So Bhagwan Shri Krishna teaches us that we must live that life of gratitude. And he tells us exactly how we can achieve that later on in the Bhagavad Gita as well. What does it say? Chapter 4, verse 22. Let's see. Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Radharaman Hari Govind Jai Jai
Radharaman Hari Govinda Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Yadrichalabha Santushto Dvandvatito Vimasta Samasiddhava Asiddhau Cha Kartapi Na Nibhadhyate Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
O Gopal Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai. Chapter 4, verse 22, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, he who is satisfied and content with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality, who does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, who is never entangled, although performing actions. That is the person that he is truly fond of. In essence, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that the importance here of being content with what we have, with what comes to us naturally, without any excessive striving, without any excessive attachment to things. It says that those who are free from envy, from duality, from attachment to success and failure, they will not be bound by the karmic consequences of their actions. By cultivating, by gathering all of this contentment and detachment in our life, we can experience this sense of inner peace. We can experience this sense of freedom within us, and we're not entangled in the attachments of life. Now, he's explaining it very complex in this verse, but to make it simple for you, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, if you are content, if you are grateful in your life, then when something comes and when something goes, you're not bothered by it, which means that you're not attached to it. And when you're attached to all of these different things, what happens? You get tangled up. You get knotted up, because all of these things are pulling you in different directions. On one hand, your mind is pulling you this way. On the other, your mind is pulling you in a separate direction. You're looking for all of these attachments in life, and the end result is that you're tangled, you're bounded, and you remain there. I haven't used this analogy in a while, but I believe that life is much like a hot air balloon. That we have things in our life that resemble this hot air balloon. We ourselves, we are the basket and the balloon, just imagine. And we're trying to fly higher. But what happens if you've ever seen a hot air balloon? There's a very thick rope that holds that balloon from flying away, and it's nailed into the ground. That are the attachments of life. And specifically, those are the attachments to people, our bonds with people, our ties with people. That is what is holding us down to the ground. And now sometimes we might cut the tie. We're free. I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm saying we're detached. If we become detached from those people, we understand in our minds, in our life, that things come and go, that people come and go. We become detached from it. But we run into another problem. There are sandbags around our basket, and these sandbags are very heavy. They're keeping us down to the ground, they're keeping us low, and we cannot fly higher. What are these sandbags? They're the attachments to objects that we have. Each of them represent a different object. And you have to untie these sandbags. I don't know if they still do this in hot air balloons, but they used to. You untie the sandbags and you drop it down to the floor. And right away, the balloon becomes lighter. It is able to fly higher. And now what is the burner that shoots the fire into the balloon? That burner is your bhakti, your devotion. It is the fuel that you're using. And once you have this fuel, once you use this fuel to climb higher, you're able to do so. It's projecting you up. It's taking you closer to Bhagwan, because that is what bhakti does. And so life is much like this hot air balloon, where we're bound by all of these things. But if we're grateful for whatever comes, but we don't hold on to the sandbags, we don't tie ourselves down to any strings and ropes, then we're free to use our bhakti to fly higher. In the chanting we just chanted, we said, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Kshanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. We said, Ya Devi, to that Devi who in all beings resides as the form of tolerance. We bow to her, Namastasye, Namastasye. We bow to her again and again, over and over. To achieve this level-headedness, to achieve this type of contentment, to achieve that ability where we are able to, rather, have things come and go in our life, what do we have to do? We have to have that kshanti, not shanti, kshanti, which means the tolerance. We need to have the tolerance to understand the maya of the world. We need to have the tolerance to understand how the world works, the samsara, the cycle that we're going to be trapped in if we hold on. And once we have the tolerance for people coming and going, it is easy for us to understand then what their purpose is and what our purpose is in life. We understand then the excessiveness of striving to get things. We understand the excessiveness of attachment that resides in our life. A simple way to practice gratitude, at least that I have found, for those that are working, you might know of this. You have an email signature, and many times what people do is, not only do they put their name in the signature, it's an automatic response. Every time you create an email, your name shows up at the bottom. Not only do they put their signature and their affiliation and their title and their name and all of this, but they also put their salutation. They also put their sign-off. So they say regards. They say best regards. They say thank you. Or whatever the sign-off may be. They put it into the automatic email so they do not have to type all of that out every single time they're writing an email. It's a very good trick. It's a very good trick. But if you do not do that, I'll tell you what happens. You're forced to type out the thank you at the end of every email. At the end of every request, you're forced to type out that thank you, that goodbye, or whatever it is that you were asking for. And when you do that, that is a simple way to practice gratitude in every single email that you send. It's going to take a little bit more time, of course, throughout your day. For those that send hundreds, don't complain to me. And it's taking too long for your work. It's going to take more time. But at the end of the day, you feel more appreciative of every single email that comes through. And here's another trick. Do not change it. Whether it's a good email, bad email to someone, whether you're requesting something or not, whether you helped the person or not, try this. Try still writing thank you. You'll see how much it changes your perception of what has happened. And even though they're requesting something from you, you're thanking them. And that is how gratitude is developed little by little in a way that is in our work world. So there's many times that we have to build this gratitude. That is one way to try to practice this. But in a practical sense, of course, to summarize what we have today, we have to have recognition first and foremost. Recognize the situation that you're in using the perspective. Remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Use the right perspective when you're thinking about how to be more thankful in life. You have to have the right humility to understand that we're all privileged to experience what we're experiencing. Those of you that are in person here today, you are very privileged to be here, to get up, to walk here, to dress yourselves, to come, to have a car, to have a jacket. I heard it's very cold outside. To have a jacket. I'm very privileged to park in a garage so I don't have to walk far. So by recognizing all of this that we have, that is the second step. And finally, to put all of that together, the first and second, with thankfulness. Once you express that, it is easy to become very thankful in your life. It is easy to take those steps to become a grateful person in life. What you're experiencing, of course, in this lifetime is great. There's many, many things that you're experiencing that are very, very great. And if we think about ourselves as an ordinary person, then everything that we experience is extraordinary. Everything that we experience is extraordinary after that. Thank you, everyone, for joining with us today. Today we're celebrating our sister's birthday, Sherry. Celebrating it in prayers, in prarthana, but it's on Sunday. I'm going to remember that. And thank you for sponsoring puja for us today. This is a happy birthday greeting that goes out to you, Sherry, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining with us in puja today and for celebrating in this way, celebrating with us as well. It gives us the chance to celebrate with you. For your birthday, we'd like to just close with a bhajan before we do announcements. Om Jai Narayani Jai Jai Durge Jai Jai Ambe Namo Namah Jai Narayani Jai Jai Durge Jai Jai Ambe Namo Namah Jai Narayani Jai Jai Durge Jai Jai Ambe Namo Namah Tera pavan simran karke अंतर में सुख भर आता
तेरा पावन सुमिरन करके अंतर में सुख भर आता
रोम रोम में प्रेम तिहारा बन के भक्ति बिकर जाता जय कल्याणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय मंत्र बनो तुम जीवन के गुंजारो ना। मन
अंतर में मंत्र बनो तुम जीवन के गुंजारो ना।
जन्म जन्म के संतापों को तेज से अपने जला दो ना। जय रुद्राणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। मंगलता की देने वाली मन वांछित फल बरसाए। मंगलता की देने वाली मन वांछित फल बरसाए। द्वार तिहारे आके मैया कोई खाली ना जाए। जय ब्रह्मानी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय। Happy early birthday to you again, Sherry. Mata Durga's blessings to you for Shakti, for strength at all times, for whatever troubles you might face in the future. Her blessings with you to go through that with power, with devotion, and with strength. Just one announcement before we stand for Aarti, everyone. Coming up next, after this beautiful Shivratri celebration that we have had, is Holi Mela. We're beginning the period of Holi. We have a Holi Mela that we're doing, which is taking place on March 5th. This will be taking place in the auditorium downstairs. It'll be a day of fun where we have lots of vendors that will come out. We would have all of you to come out and join with us to listen to a program, a beautiful program, like always performed by the youth of our temple. There'll be food for purchase. The event is free itself, so please come on out and join with us. That is March 5th. So 3 p.m.?
3 p.m.
3 p.m., March 5th. I'll now pass the microphone over to our Guruji Pandit.
Jai Sitaram, everyone. And thank you all for being here. I'll just take 30 seconds or so to wish all of you well, Sitaram, and welcome you to the temple this evening. And more so to wish Sherry happy birthday in advance. I know a few days from now is your birthday. So on behalf of the temple, I want to wish you all the best. And it's nice to see you performing puja this evening. We always say that birthdays are very special. And it's a reminder that God has given us the greatest gift of life, which is the human body and the intellect that we have. No other form of life have what we have. So it is always a good thing to give thanks and show appreciation for that. So happy birthday again in advance. God bless you always, and nice to see the family as well this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, everyone, for joining with us today again. Very nice to see all of you, and to those online, thank you for tuning into our program. Let us now all please stand for Aarti. Om Yani Kani Cha Papani Janmantar Kritani Cha Tani Sarvani Nashyantu Pradakshina Pade Pade.
Om Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri तुमको निश दिन ध्यावत मैया जी को निश दिन ध्यावत हरि ब्रह्मा शिव जी ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया जय श्यामा गौरी मांग सिंदूर विराजत को मृग मद को मैया को मृग मद को उज्ज्वल से दोनैना उज्ज्वल से दोनैना चंद्र बदननी को ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया जय श्यामा गौरी कनक समान कलेवर रक्तांबर राजे मैया रक्तांबर राजे रक्त पुष्प गणमाला रक्त पुष्प गणमाला कंठहार साजे ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया जय श्यामा गौरी कानन कुंडल शोभित नासाग्रे मोती मैया नासाग्रे मोती कौतिक चंद्र दिवाकर कौतिक चंद्र दिवाकर राजत सम ज्योति ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया जय श्यामा गौरी के हरि वाहन राजत खड्ग कपर धारी मैया खड्ग कपर धारी सुर नर मुनि जय सेवक सुर नर मुनि जय सेवक तिनके दुख हारी ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया जय श्यामा गौरी मैया जय श्यामा गौरी
ॐ शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणे नमोऽस्तु ते त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। We bow. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah। Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya। बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सिया भज रामचंद्र की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सबको जय जय सीताराम। Jai Sitaram everyone. Thank you again for joining with us. Arti will be coming towards you. Thank you.